Floss fans. I decided to do something that I've never done before, which is to have a little weekend away by myself. I reached a milestone with my PhD recently. I did my 2-year progress review and I wanted to celebrate that by treating myself to a couple of nights away, just not too far from where I live. And so here I am. And I've had feelings of imposter syndrome about being away on holiday, like I'm not supposed to be here, I'm not supposed to be in such lovely, beautiful surroundings just for me. I need to either have someone here to justify it or whatever. But I'm trying to lean into it and say that this is something that I can choose to do and that I can enjoy. So I just thought I'd film a few little snippets of my time away. Right now I'm about to sit down and do some English paper piecing. I'm working on the Liberty Puddles Stitch Along the pattern is by the Strawberry Thief, who's a Liberty of London distributor in Western Australia. So this is the block I'm working on. I'm up to joining these rows here, and I'm about to select my next one. So I'll see how I go in terms of making this video. I might just film a little bit of me stitching and put some music on and see, if you'd like to spend some stitchy time with me that way. I'm just going to sit and stitch for a bit, and I'm going to choose which row I'm going to put on next. Okay. I think this is the one that I'm going to put on next. It's pretty foolproof because the circles are the rings that I'm doing. I'm alternating between this solid, which is duck egg blue in a Liberty solid, and then scrappy or no pattern repeat little 1-inch hexagons that you can order in packs from Liberty of London. The Strawberry Thief in WA, and so I think I'm trying to alternate between light and dark patterns so that there's a good contrast. And I learned the little tip that if you take a photo of something on your phone and then put it into grayscale, you can make sure that you've got a good distribution of light and dark shades. I think I've seen that on a few quilting podcasts and vlogs here on YouTube, but Kate at the Last Homely House was where I first came across that tip, so thank you, Kate. I'm going to stitch this one on now. So I did want to show you some of the tools that I'm using. Recently I treated myself to this little needle holder from Kohana. It is absolutely adorable. So it's just got a piece of roving in the middle and keeps your needles in there. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there you go. And the piece of roving of course helps the needles not to tarnish. But this is I use it every day, and it's interesting because it was not cheap by any means. It was very well priced for something that is an artisan crafted type of thing, so I was happy to pay that amount, but I wasn't sure if I could justify it. And then I have used it every single day since and got great joy out of using it, and having something so beautiful that I'm using daily. That's a lesson for me in conscious purchasing, that if it's beautiful and I'm going to get lots of use out of it, then it's worth paying for something handcrafted. And then I've got these set of embroidery scissors from the Strawberry Thief. It's got a bit of lovely Liberty attached, so I'm going to be using those. And then I've got Aurifil cotton. It's in the 50 weight, and it's just in a matching shade to my duck egg blue Liberty solid. So So a little trick and tip I learned from watching lots of English paper piecing, quilting vlogs on Instagram. There was a video with fabric designer Tula Pink that I watched, but also Robin at the Strawberry Thief's English paper piecing tutorials on YouTube are very helpful. And the tip I learned is to thread the needle while the thread is still attached to the spool, and that's the direction that the thread was designed to go through the eye of the needle in, and therefore you will have less tangles. And you know, I wasn't collecting data by saying how many thread tangles have I had when I didn't use this method versus not, but my feeling is that I've had less tangles. Of course, another thing is to keep the thread length short. I should say that I'm a beginner with hand stitching quilts, but so, you know, apologies to any of you who are much more experienced than me with these types of things, but I don't know, I just find YouTube such a great source of collective knowledge about pretty much anything you'd like to learn about, and so I'm just passing on some of the learning that I've come across and found useful as I have tried to learn a new skill. Something else that I find really useful are little wonder clips that I ordered from the Strawberry Thief, but you can get at lots of quilting supply places. Yeah, so it helps when you're trying to clip two things together, put two things together that will be sewed together, and it holds everything in place nicely. So I'm just making sure that this will join in the way that I want it to. I've never sort of filmed myself working on a project before, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to keep up the chatting element of this, whether I'll just go into a period of intense concentration. And I suppose if I do, I will just edit some music over the top of this so that it's not too boring. I'm just trying some new things with my videos, and my main thing with my videos is just if I enjoy making them, and so I thought it would be enjoyable to film a video while I did some stitching. The other thing that I have in mind when I'm making videos are what type of videos do I like to watch. And I really enjoy watching videos where people are sitting and stitching, even ones where there's just, you know, they're not chatting, they're just, you know, sitting in front of a fireplace stitching, or, you know, sitting in their stitching space stitching, perhaps with some music on. And to me, it's like having some company while you're stitching, if you feel like it, but company that, you know, you don't necessarily have to, well, you don't have to engage with, because they're not, you know, it's a recording. So I'm someone who benefits from intense rest via solitude, and so having someone's stitching video to keep me company is a really great way of not feeling lonely, but also getting the solitude that I need to rest. Something I sort of discovered during the lockdowns, actually, with the COVID lockdowns. I don't know why I'm describing those. I'm sure everyone watching knows exactly what I'm talking about. It was something we experienced collectively. But yeah, I discovered that time alone is something that I really can help me restore. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some days where the inability to leave the house felt like, and the lack of company felt like an elephant sitting on my chest. Like, it felt so oppressive. So I do definitely need social interaction just like anyone else. But the right balance of solitude and social interaction, I suppose, is what everyone needs. And I've discovered that for me and my brain, I need more solitude than I previously thought that I needed. And that's something I've discovered since realising that I'm on the autism spectrum. And yeah, this little weekend away for me is something I've never done before, but it's an experiment with, enjoying my own company. And because I spend time alone in my house sometimes when my children are with their dad, and I quite like that. I'm very comfortable with that, but I haven't done this before, of going away to be on holiday for a couple of nights on my own. And so it's all a bit of an experiment, one which I'm enjoying very much so far. I'm going to watch some movies later. I've had some Flosstube on this afternoon, catching up with all those wonderful Flosstubers out there. Now, if you can hear anything in the background, that is indeed a donkey, which was key selection criteria in me choosing the little place that I'd come away to. There are donkeys here. How cool. It's very cold and wet and rainy out there today, but I'm planning a little morning walk tomorrow morning just around this beautiful property that I'm on for the weekend, and I'll see if I can get some footage to include in the video. If I forget, don't come at me about it. Any filming I do this weekend is because I feel like it, and I don't want it to become like a source of like, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, or pressure, Really hoping I'm sewing the correct seam. I am quite, as I said, new to quilting and English paper piecing, and so there have been times where, even though it's supposed to be fairly foolproof, I think it's supposed to be very simple, where I've sewn the wrong bit to the wrong bit. And often that occurs when I'm tired or not thinking straight. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm trying to multitask right now by talking and stitching, that I will have sewn the wrong bit together. But if that's the case, I'll just unpick it and try again. Guess what? I sewed the correct bit. I'm so proud of myself. So one little seam done to attach this one on. It's going to look really nice, I think. What attracted me to English paper piecing is the accuracy that is sort of ensured or enabled by the use of the paper templates. Because I have tried a little bit of stitching on a machine, and accuracy is something I felt a bit anxious about, and I feel like wrapping fabric around a paper template, as long as you wrap it sort of fairly tightly, it sort of ensured that accuracy. And anytime I'm a little bit out, like the hand stitching sort of pulls things into place. Having said that, I have not yet got to the point of joining blocks together yet. I'm stitching a 2-inch hexagon quilt, and I've stitched together about 56 sets of 7 to make little flowers that I'm then going to stitch into the entire quilt. That donkey's got something to stay in the background. I wonder if you can hear it on the video. It can be like the cuckoo clock in Brenda and the Serial Starters videos. So I'm not sure, you know, like I'm feeling like my blocks are quite accurate, but I suppose the ultimate test of that will be when I start to join them together into one large piece, but I think it's going to be great and fine. The other reason that I've been attracted to English paper piecing is I've discovered what I like about sewing is slow stitching, slow sewing. And so I prefer hand stitching over a machine because there's not the noise of the machine, because I'm intentionally choosing to do something that takes a long time and that forces me to slow down and be mindful, whereas in the rest of my life I do tend to rush along a lot with the things, the daily tasks and my writing and deadlines and what have you, and purposefully not having a deadline for a slow stitching project that I'm intentionally taking, you know, years to complete really attracts me. It gives purpose and meaning to why I craft, to slow the mind, to focus the mind, to relax. So yeah, I think that's what's attracted me to English paper piecing. Plus all the awesome, like if you look up English paper piecing on Instagram, like the awesome quilts you'll find. I do tend to use my mouth on the thread sometimes. That's probably a bit controversial. Oh well. I wonder if I'm sitting a bit far away from the camera. Perhaps I should be a bit closer up so you can see me actually stitching a bit better, but this is not really a tutorial, isn't it? It's just a bit of a sit and stitch and chat. And I wanted to get these beautiful cushions in the shot. They look like they've been hand done actually by the owner of this place. Aren't they beautiful? This place is full of little treasures actually. I found there's some framed antique cross stitch on the wall, which I'll insert a picture of. And at each corner of the, where each hexagon meets another, I'm trying to do a knicker knot, which if you look on YouTube for Flosstube Daily, or again if you look at Robin from the Strawberry Thieves tutorial, you can see how to do one there. But then I've also seen there are other methods like Tulip Pink's tutorial on YouTube. She doesn't do a knicker knot, she sort of just does a different method of sort of a double knot that she finds easy. So lots of ways that you can strengthen that stitch in the corner. As I said, this is definitely not a tutorial. I'm not qualified to give a tutorial, but I'm just sharing some of the things I've come across that have been useful to me in my EPP, English paper piecing journey. If you are enjoying this video, please do give me some feedback. If this is the type of style of thing you'd like to see more. Obviously, you know, I don't necessarily have beautiful, well-lit surroundings to do an afternoon sit and stitch within very regularly. I generally sit in my bed at home at night. The lighting is not great. I've discovered that even stitching with linen is too difficult for me at night. I have to sort of stick to my Ada projects if I'm doing cross stitch. So that's not very conducive to filming a sit and stitch video. But I'd still be interested to know if you find this to be something that you enjoy, because it's definitely something I can keep in mind. If I get another chance to film another video like it at some point. And I'd be interested, like, have any of you taken yourself away on a weekend just on your own before? And what have your experiences been? Or if you haven't done that and that's not your thing, you know, what do you do to recharge your batteries? I'm pretty sure that the cross stitches among us, I mean, the only people who don't do cross stitch that watch me are probably family and friends who are just being encouraging in watching my videos. So I imagine stitching is something that a lot of us who watch this channel and other Flosstubes do to relax. What other routines and rituals of recharging batteries do you have? I'd be interested to hear. And if I have any neurodiverse viewers, I'd be interested to hear, you know, what things you find useful. I've recently come across a tool, and I'm not sure if I've talked about it in my Flosstube before, but a tool that Tony Atwood, I think, came up with. He's an autism specialist, and it's a system of energy accounting. And I spend a lot of time, actually, in my PhD talking about emissions accounting. So I'm not talking about something like that, right? So not talking about greenhouse gas emissions accounting. I'm talking about human energy accounting, and it's sort of structured a little bit like a pros cons list, apart from on one side of the column you have deposits, on the other side you have withdrawals, and you know, basically it's like balancing a ledger. You need to have a balance between deposits and withdrawals, things that give and take energy from you, and if there's not an appropriate balance, that's a sign to yourself that you've got to do something to address that. And I've been, you know, at first started using that in a written down sort of system, and now I just have a general better understanding of what gives me energy and what depletes energy for me, so that I make sure I don't hit zero or hit negative energy, which helps me to not get overwhelmed in my daily life and my week. And it just helps you to account for where your energy goes and help you to keep a good balance. So if any, I think that would work for people whether they're neurotypical or neurodiverse, but I think that tool's been crafted with neurodiverse people in mind, and since I've started using it, it's really helped me to have less instances of overload. And so but anyway, I do have any neurodiverse viewers who felt like they'd like to share their tips and tricks for or strategies that have helped them with their own rest, recharge, restoring and balance. I'd be really interested to know, because as I've shared with you before on this channel, I'm really learning about this myself, about what helps me to manage or to maximise my life as a neurodiverse person, as an autism, or a woman with autism. There you go. I didn't know what tangents that I'd end up going on if I sat and chatted. It's probably not surprising I'm talking about my autism, because it is my existence, right? So it's obviously front of mind for me. I feel like this is like having a craft afternoon with my floss fans. I'm very much enjoying sitting and chatting with you. Haven't been brave enough to do this as a live. As I said, my stitching surroundings are not as idyllic at my home, but if a live is of interest to anyone, let me know, because I can keep that in mind too for if I have an opportunity. I think I'd feel a little bit sad if I did a live and then there was no company, so very much like to hear if I would have some company on that. And I've been very delighted that my little channel has been steadily growing. I mean, it's not a goal I've really set for myself to grow the channel to any particular number. I'm just interested for people who want to watch it, and if it helps one person feel happy, or that they've got company, or that they might be or know someone who is neurodiverse, that it helps them feel not alone or reduces stigma in some small way, or if you've learned one thing about coal and climate change and the legal frameworks around that, like that makes me really happy. So it's not really about the number of you who are viewing, and this is such a great creative outlet for me. I just enjoy doing something fun, just for fun. But having said all of that, probably not a but, it's just a having said all of that, in addition to what I've just said, it is nice to see that I have almost 100 subscribers now. When I think about that amount of people joining me in my lounge room, or today in this little Airbnb, that's a lot of people. But it's nice. It's nice to feel like we've got a little community, and we're also part of a much broader community with the rest of the Flosstube community. Every time I meet someone new through this, they've without fail been delightful. So it feels like a sort of a safe part of the internet, a safe space for diversity and positive interaction and building people up rather than tearing people down. And yeah, I just find it to be an enriching part of my life for that reason. So thank you to everyone who's hit that subscribe button. You know, it doesn't cost you anything to hit that subscribe button. It just means that if you hit the notification bell beside it, you'll get notifications when there's a new video. So if you are watching my videos and you're enjoying them and you'd like to get a notification when there's a new one, unfortunately I don't have a regular schedule at the moment. It just doesn't suit me to have too much routine around when I film these videos, because you know, I've got a lot of deadlines and routines in my life already, and so this is just for fun when I have a moment. So it can be really handy if you want to hit that subscribe and notification button, because then you will see when I have a new video, so you won't be sitting around, because I'm sure that's what you'll do, sit around saying, I wonder when Ella's going to be giving us a new video. You won't have to worry about that anymore. I don't blame you for not sitting around waiting for my videos. I really admire the Flosstubers who are on a schedule, and I have come to, you know, really look forward to days when Flosstubers who I really like watching on a regular basis come out with video. And I think, you know, that is what I would like to be, but I just don't want my Flosstube to be a source of pressure for myself, so that's why it's not really feasible for me at the moment to be someone on a schedule. But yeah, I do hang out for videos by some of my favourites, like Catherine and Victoria at Neat and Not by the Sea, and Mama Loves UGB Michelle. She had a little hiatus recently, which was actually really empowering to see her do, because she usually does weekly videos, the Sunday morning briefing as she calls them, and you know, I think she's one of the most regular Flosstubers and, you know, regularly reliable Flosstubers I've come across. And to see her say, no, I've got to focus on a busy period in my life at the moment. She's a teacher, and she was needing to put in some extra care and attention to her students sitting exams, especially given the last couple of years that they've had with COVID disruptions. And she stepped away for a few weeks from Flosstube, and that was really, I suppose, inspiring, just to see someone be really real about not being able to do everything all the time. But having said that, I really missed her. I realised that Flosstubes like that in my week, that I know when they're coming, are little treats throughout my week that I look forward to. So I feel like apologising for not being a source of that for any of my viewers, because yeah, at this point in my life I'm not really capable of that regularity, but I'm going to try not to apologise for it, because I don't need this to be another source of being hard on myself, and I just like making these as and when I can, and sharing with you as and when I can, and that's okay. It's going to be interesting watching these videos back when I edit them, because because I don't know what I look like stitching. And I have this image in my head of one of my younger siblings from when we were little, and they had a face that they would sort of pull, a concentration face, when they were writing or drawing or something like that. And it's a face that I've seen in my children when they're concentrating, so I'm wondering if it might be what I look like, which would be rather funny. I guess I'm about to find out. Do I have a stitching duck face? You know already. I won't find out till later. I'm glad I'm doing some English paper piecing as my first filming while stitching, because I don't think I could count and talk and stitch. In fact, when I've had some in-person craft afternoons with my aunt, and then another time with my aunt and cousin, I purposely took English paper piecing with me because I knew I could talk and do that, or like, you know, be part of a conversation. I had a better chance of being part of a conversation and doing that than I did if I was trying to count. And even still, I still connected wrong seams to the seams that they've, you know, incorrectly joined a few pieces, and then had to think quick about changing what I was doing to compensate, because that was when I was putting together my florets for my 2-inch quilt, which I do little layouts before I stitch them together, but you know, I didn't have to take those apart because I could just adjust the layout a little bit. With this it would be a bit different because there's an obvious pattern. But yeah, so even that stitching and talking without the counting, I still managed to make a few errors. Anyway, I think I'm gonna keep you with me until I finish stitching this little row on, and then I might say goodbye for now, and then see if I check in with you at another part of my little holiday this weekend. I am planning on going antiquing or thrifting. There's a great local antiques complex here, so I'm hopeful. I found some good spools there when I was in this area a year ago. Hoping to maybe come across some spools or some antique needlework, some saved stitches opportunities. So I might do a little, hopefully a little mini antique haul after I go and have a look at that tomorrow. So we'll see what this video ends up being. But thanks for coming on holiday with me. It's really nice. Even though I'm here on my own, I sort of feel like I'm not, which is nice. I've got the solitude, but also the company of you guys. You'll also see I'm not wearing a thimble. I have bought several different types of thimbles to see if one would suit me, but I find that I'm quite clumsy in them, so probably need to persevere a little bit more with getting used to using them. But at the moment it just frustrates me that I don't have the dexterity that I would like to have, so I haven't been using one, which means that I get a bit, you know, poked and prodded. But it's okay for now. The donkeys think I should be using a thimble. Okay, there you have it. I've just stitched on another line. I haven't quite finished. Got one more group of 4 to make this round complete, but I've just stitched on these 4 here. I'll zoom in for you. Zoom, manual zoom. Apologies for any shadows. There we go. All stitched on. I'm just loving how this is turning out. It's going to be so pretty. Okay, well, I think it's a glass of wine o'clock time here now. Wine and cheese o'clock. And relax time. But yeah, I'll see what other little snippets I take of footage this weekend and compile it into something that I hope will be enjoyable for you to watch. But thanks for spending a bit of stitchy time with me. And yeah, see you soon. Bye.